Well, folks, in today's video, we're going to be converting this Athearn Blue Box -9 locomotive into a Microsoft Train Simulator Police Interceptor locomotive. I know this seems like a very unusual idea, and that's probably because it is, but hear me out on it. Back in the 2000s, somebody developed in Microsoft Train Simulator a Police Interceptor locomotive, and this was a very kind of interesting locomotive. I think it was supposed to be LAPD, and it was all blue, lighter blue down the middle with darker on the top. It had blinking lights for the ditch lights, and it actually went into two videos which became very popular in the train simulator community back in the early 2010s. The first was Msts Tv, which was a parody of Cops, and I loved that show as a kid. It was really silly, but I really liked it. And then there was Eastbound and Down, which was a BNSF train, or no, it was a CSX train, and it was getting away with Budweiser, and one of the Police Interceptor locomotives was following it. So, yeah, for a long time I've wanted to create an HO scale model, but obviously I didn't want to go sacrificing anything too special, and trying to find a -9 cheap wasn't too easy, until I went to Zeepniks and managed to pick one up for 20 bucks. And it's not really decorated, and you can't really see on camera, but the paint job, somebody did this with a brush, and it was not a very clean job, so yeah, I really don't feel too much shame in repainting this to something sort of silly. We're not sacrificing any special paint schemes. So, yeah, we're going to strip the paint off this thing and try to turn it into my dream Police Interceptor locomotive from Microsoft Train Simulator. Let's get started. So you can kind of see right here what I mean by the paint job. As you can see, it's not very even. Yeah, really not something I feel too guilty about stripping off. Anyway, we're going to begin by taking off all the handrails and other pieces. And this shouldn't be very hard because the original owner didn't glue these in or anything like that. So it's just, they're basically pressure fit. So it's not really that hard to remove them. And they're just all popping out. Some of them have already come out actually, so that's handy. And I've already taken the front handrails off, so all we need to do now is remove these ones. To do some of them off camera. Let's find out here. Oh, there we go. It's basically all stripped of the handrails and whatnot. Now we just need to get this shell off and strip the paint off of it. To take the shell off, the first thing we need to do is remove these screws which hold the coupling pockets in. And it doesn't really matter that we're taking these out to begin with, because these have horn hook couplers, and I want to put knuckles on it, so yeah, that will be a welcomed upgrade, you could say. And yeah, we'll just do the same on this side. I might need to do this part off camera. And to take the shell off, there's just these little tabs, and you push them in like that, and then you sort of pull up. I've done this off camera just because I don't find it's the easiest thing to do. It's actually one of the things that I don't like about some of these Athearn Blue Boxes. Because other than that, these are some of the best designs of locomotives out there. But yeah, I found for this style of locomotive, these little tabs they're just a little bit tricky to get off sometimes. But anyway, we've now got this piece separate. I'm going to take this all apart and re-lubricate it and whatnot, because I don't know when the lubricants were last changed in it. But I'll do all that off camera. All I'm going to focus on for this video is taking care of this shell. Alright, so I've already gone ahead and removed all the windows, lights, etc., which would be painted over if we didn't remove them, plus they might be affected by the paint stripper we're about to use. In this case, I'm using some heirloom paint stripper. I'm no expert on paint strippers. This is just what I've used, and it doesn't claim to be plastic safe, although I've used it a few times, and I haven't had any negative effects with it, basically. So, yeah, I don't know if this is the best stuff, but it seems to get the job done. And then what I always do is I just take a paintbrush and I just evenly coat it over the entire surface of the paint, and then just let it sit for a while and let it work its magic. Alright, so I let the paint stripper set for about 10 minutes, so I think it's time for some of that visual ASMR. This could be because the paint is not entirely even, but yeah, it doesn't seem to be stripping completely even either. But it will get there all in good time. Alright, so I've got the paint completely stripped off. That took a lot longer than I was expecting, if I'm honest. I don't know what kind of paint was originally on there, but it was pretty long lasting, I have to say. Anyway, now that we've got that off, I think we're ready to paint it. Here's my paint. I've already given it a nice shake there, so that should be good. So yeah, let's get started. I always shake this up, but I always take a practice shot. Now watch the quality of the paint here. Here's our initial spray. You see how it's a little bit better? We get the nonsense out of the line there. All right. Alright, I think that's a fine initial coat, so yeah, we'll let that set for a few hours and come back later, see how it turns out. Alright, so it's now tomorrow being March 2nd, 2020, and after letting the paint dry overnight, I'm pretty happy with the results. I did the entire painting in 2 goes last night. Basically, I was emailed by a gentleman not long after I'd finished the Canadiana project, and he was suggesting that I should put slightly more paint on for each layer. Not heavy layers, but the thing is that when the paint goes on, it goes on, in little particles, and they spread out when they land. So if you put coats that are too light, you get kind of a bumpier paint job, versus if you just spray it on all in one go, it all bonds together and you get a much better finish. So I did that, and he was certainly right. It's definitely smoother. One thing that is a little bit odd, though, and I don't know if it has anything to do with that, but the paint I put on, I believe it claimed to be a matte. At least the top of the can was a matte. And it's pretty glossy, if I'm honest. So, yeah, I don't know what caused that, but whatever the case, it went on pretty evenly. So that's all I was really looking for. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put on some more of the details. There's a white stripe that goes around the locomotive, and then we'll put the second coat on, which will darken the top of this and the bottom of the locomotive. So let's get started. Alright, so I removed the cab for this part of the painting because we're going to be putting a little white line right across here. It's going to go right under the light, basically, and wrap around the cab. I'm going to have to put this on the locomotive as well, but I figured it would just be a little bit easier getting it on the locomotive without having all of the other corners and stuff in the way, so we'll do the cab and the locomotive separately. Anyway, I'm going to do this part off camera, at least the taping, because I want to be kind of precise and careful with it, and I figure it would just be a little bit easier. So I'll get back once I get that done. Alright, so we've got the tape on, and I'm pretty happy with how it went on. It seems pretty tight to the plastic, but just to give it that extra layer of sealing, we're going to hit it up with some paint. I've already taken a practice shot there, so we're just going to put a nice even coat across the tape, and this will just seal any potential gaps there may be in the tape work. Alright, so I went ahead and did the line work last night. I decided to do it off camera just so I could get it done a little quicker, but here's how it turned out. It's certainly not flawless. You can see there's a little bit of overspray here and there, but overall I don't think it turned out too bad. A little bit of stuff I'll have to clean up, but overall I'm pretty happy. So I think it's now ready for the second coat, which will make the top area here darker and the bottom part. So let's get to that. So I've got all the areas I don't want to get paint on taped off, so that's all prepped. One thing that's sort of odd though is I bought all these paints at the same store, and this one for some reason has this sticker on it that says to only apply it outdoors. I don't know if this has some sort of carcinogen in it, but I mean you're supposed to use most paints in a well-ventilated area, which is why I do this in the garage. But yeah, I find that sort of odd. So I'm gonna do this kind of quickly because I don't want to be breathing in whatever's in here, especially if it's supposed to be sprayed outdoors. Yeah, that should be okay. I'm liking it already. Just for the note of this paint too, it doesn't smell different or anything like that. This is really odd. Alright, so the second layer of paint is now dry, so we're ready to remove the tape and hopefully get to see some visual ASMR, as I say. Anyway, let's start removing the tape and see what we've got. I like it so far. Oh yeah, okay. If this side turned out good as well, we're gonna be really well off here. Hell yeah! Check that out. Hell yeah. Pretty happy with that. Okay, that's good. Let's get the cab back on this sucker and yeah, see how it all looks. Well, there it all is. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm sure you guys noticed too, I just put a little spot of white there, just like the real one. So yeah, I'm very happy with that. I'm gonna have to work on the locomotive a little because this is where it currently is right now, but once we have that back together and we have the handrails painted, I think it will be ready to send out on a test run. Alright, and here it is completed. I'm very pleased with how it turned out. The handrails were pretty easy to paint up. I basically crazy glued all of the handrails into place. I pulled them off, I painted them, and I got those on. So yeah, I'm happy with that. I got the horns on. And check this out, we painted these silver and the paint went on really evenly for the truck, so yeah, I think that looks pretty cool. So it looks like the SMT layout now has some authority, so hopefully we can have a Dukes of Hazzard locomotive soon, and I think you guys can all guess where that's gonna lead. Anyway, yeah, let's take this thing for a run. This is a Athearn and I gave it the works, so it's got fresh oil and all the rest of it in it. And it's an Athearn blue box, so yeah, that's good props. So let's send her on a run here. Yeah, look at that. A little bit loud, but headlights shining nice and bright. And yeah, it's running fine. This is not a super new engine. It's got the steel wheels on her, so yeah, it's not the most modern, but I can tell you it runs so much better now that it's got fresh oil in it, so that's definitely good. When I was running this thing prior to the oil change, it was a little bit sluggish, so I definitely improved the speed and torque on it. And you can see the motor's running moderately efficient too for an engine of its age, so yeah, I mean that's full tilt there. So yeah, I'm very happy with that. So I think it will be Great addition to the collection. I know the paintwork didn't turn out flawlessly, but you know what? This is what I was looking for. And frankly, this is a locomotive I've always wanted. Childhood dream, and here it is created, so I think that's kind of special. Anyway, I want to thank you all so much for watching. I'm sure we'll have some more content up on the way soon. And yeah, thanks for watching, everyone.